Weapons are a key aspect in Blue Protocol, so let's take a look at some mechanics in order to maximize their effectiveness. Weapons are mainly acquired through crafting. In order to craft a weapon, you must first unlock its recipe. Early on, quests will give weapon recipes along with the weapon's adventure board. These adventure boards provide items that help you in crafting the weapon, such as some pieces of the rare crafting materials, or a permanent buff that makes it so when a material drops, you get 2 of them instead of 1. So I highly recommend doing the boards. Later in the game, you will only get the weapon adventure board, which you have to progress through to get the recipe. Once you possess the recipe, you can go to the weapon forge and hover over the yellow information icons to see where you can get the drops, or you can even add them to your item wish list. You can check your wish list from your command menu and also display it on your task list in-game so you don't have to keep opening the menu. Typically, the recipe requires some combination of gathered resources, rare drops from enemies, and drops from a dungeon. The drop rate on the rare material from enemies is really low, around 3% or so definitely do the adventure board to get some copies of that item, or get the double drop buff I mentioned earlier. For the dungeon material, you can use your bonus rewards tickets to farm the item faster. For example, you'll get 2 of the drop instead of 1, so you'd only have to clear the dungeon half the amount of times. Weapons can also be obtained through treasure chests that drop from dungeon mini-bosses. While farming for the dragon nail weapon, you might be able to just get it as a drop from the mini-boss. This specific mini-boss has a 5% chance to drop a treasure chest, which will guarantee that one of the dragon nail weapons, selected randomly, are added to the rewards list. You still have to clear the entire dungeon to get the item. For higher level weapons, the chest drop rates are much lower, so I wouldn't call this a reliable way to obtain weapons, but more like a fun little bonus if you get lucky. Now that we know how to obtain weapons, let's take a look at the RNG aspects. There are 3 randomly determined aspects regarding weapons: success or great success, special effect and its effectiveness, and the number of sockets on the weapon. When obtaining a weapon, either through crafting or from a chest, there's a chance of it being a great success, or masterwork in the global version. A great success means you have access to better values for the other 2 randomly determined aspects. There are tickets you can use to guarantee a great success when crafting a weapon, though the number of tickets you need will vary based on the weapon. The special effect is an attribute that provides bonus damage against a certain race of enemies. Things like Ogre Killer, Goblin Killer, Quad Arm Killer, and so on. With a great success, you can get higher percentages of the effect. Weapon sockets are slots where you can attach ability plugs onto your weapon. In order to get more than 1 weapon socket on a weapon, you have to have a great success, and then it's randomly determined whether you get 2, 3, or 4 sockets. There are some socket expansion tickets that will add sockets to an existing weapon, so you don't necessarily have to keep crafting the same weapon over and over. Once you've crafted a weapon and have some empty sockets, you can go to the Weapon Reconstructor NPC to attach plugs, which will consume some union paste. Some plugs provide passive stat boosts, such as attack, defense, strength, etc., and some provide skill-enhancing effects. For example, this plug reduces the cooldown of Refresh Area, the Blast Archer skill. They come in grades of G1, G2, and G3 for now. Plugs can be obtained as dungeon rewards, through adventure boards, and from events. Union paste can be acquired from quests and dungeons. When attached, the plug will roll a random 1 to 5 star value, which will determine the effectiveness of the plug. You can use tuning tickets to keep the plugs inserted, but re-roll how many stars they have. There are also ability value preservation tickets, which lock the stars on an ability of your choice so that it doesn't get re-rolled. The number of tickets needed will vary based on the weapon. If free-to-play can't farm this, you just click. Just click as many times as you want. Reroll, 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 reroll. Plugs can be removed using the plug removal tickets. Though if you wish to keep the plug, you'll need the plug retrieval tickets. The number of tickets needed will vary based on the weapon. Once we know more about these tickets, I'll update the written version of this guide linked in the description. Finally, plugs do not increase your battle score at this time. Weapons increase your battle score by 50 times the item level. A level 10 weapon will increase your battle score by 500. However, if your class level is lower than the item level sync will reduce both the stats and the battle score until you level up. Finally, weapons can have an element, so when you're using non-elemental skills, you'll generate elemental charge of your weapon element. If you're using elemental skills, the skill element will take priority over the weapon element, so spellcasters might want to take that into consideration. And that's all for weapons. If anything in this guide becomes outdated or changes, there's a link to a written guide in the description which will have all of the most current information. Weapons are only one piece of gear in Blue Protocol, so if you want to learn about the other two pieces, I have a video on Imagine. Or if you want to know how to farm materials faster, check out my video on Liquid Memories.